Hello, everyone. In this video, I will be continuing talking about customer acquisition strategy, right? So in the previous video, I hope you have already watched it, and then in the previous video, I talk about the go-to-market strategy, right? So how we can integrate, various go-to-market strategies with your design thinking methodology, right? Now, here in this lecture, I will be talking about like the customer acquisition strategy that is important to integrate with your design thinking, like framework, right? So right now you're at the stage of like testing phase of your design thinking, right? Or maybe you can be at the stage of like the planning in the design thinking. It doesn't matter, right? Because like all these strategies, like it is like okay to start in the early stages of your design thinking. For example, you want to start planning these go-to-market strategy, customer acquisition strategy, and so on, which is good actually, right? So that you will become like clear about what you want to achieve, like and more importantly, how to implement all these strategies in the later stages of design thinking, right? All right. So in this lecture, like the customer acquisition strategy. So why it is important? Because you're now developing or developing a software system. It can be a mobile app, right? So your ultimate goal is basically to address like user needs, right? So simply said, like you want your users like to use your system, right? So the most important thing here is how to attract users or customers, like consumers, to start using your system, your prototype. This is like very important, right? So transitioning from the testing phase of your design thinking project to of customer acquisition, you know task is kind of like crucial. It's like pivotal step towards like commercializing your app, your product, your system, right? So getting or acquiring like consumers basically means that you are like kind of like asking, like letting your customers to start using your system, right? So based on the various model, like they can be using your system for free, but if you're using like an advertisement model, for example, you need like a certain number of customers, like customer base, so that you will be able to attract the advertisers, right? Or maybe like or if you're using like subscription model, like one users are using your system like that, they might want to consider like changing to like a premium model, a premium users, like a subscribed user, right? So which is why uh, in the first place, it is very important to get the right number of customers, like and of course these customers must be like authentic, and they are kind of like the ones who are generating the contents, who are doing the transactions, who are kind of like using your system like in their daily life, right? So which is why customer acquisition strategy is very important. We have to think about like various strategies, how to like design and implement you know the the techniques for the for acquiring the customers. So, theoretically, a customer acquisition strategy refers to the approach or like a method a business, right, your startup company uses to attract and acquire new customers, right? So this is really, really important. In the first place, we need to make sure we are getting like, attracting the right number of customers. The more, the better, right? So this strategy is like important because it directly impacts the growth and the sustainability of a business, which is kind of like very true. Without your customer base, how are we going to sustain in this market, in this segment, right? So what are the strategies that we need to do? So there are like a few strategies that overlap with your go-to-market strategy, right? For example, you need to refine and you refine your value proposition. So throughout the design thinking like project, I repeatedly talk about the value proposition, like why value proposition is very important here, because these are the things that make your product, your system unique, and like differentiate from other products, other competitors, right? In terms of features, functionalities, service, prices, promotions, and so on, right? So utilize insights you gain from the testing phase or like the earlier stage. In terms of value proposition, we have done quite a lot of work since in the beginning of the project, right? So the idea is to sharpen your value proposition, like you're kind of like refining, making sure, okay, these are the unique ones that you want to adopt, right? And like make sure it speaks directly to the needs and the desire of your target audience, right? So this is, we have already known it. Then we can emphasize the unique benefits your product offers. So this is pretty important, using your product, your system, your service, what kind of benefits like they can get, right? So for example, like Netflix versus like a Disney Channel, or like maybe Amazon like Prime, like what are the unique what kind of unique propositions do they have, right? So these are the things that we have to address in our like in our model, in our strategy. And also understand your target audience like deeply. This is like what we have already done since in the like day one, right? We need to clearly understand like our target audience, what they want, what they like, what they do, right? What benefits they are looking for, what kind of pain points they have, and many other stuff, right? So using the insights gathered from your empathize and testing phase, and technically the entire design thinking, right, to understand your target users and their needs and their preferences and their behaviors, right? Segment your audience based on the demographics, like your persona will be very useful here, their interests, their behaviors, and their needs, to tailor your marketing efforts more effectively, right? So this is what we want to achieve. And also your products landing page, right? So since like your customers like they start using your system, like the very first page, the home page, the landing page, this is kind of like where you have to attract, where you have to guide your users, like what kind of offers you have, and like without exploring like very detailed, because like the visitors, right, they will make a very instant judgment whether they want to explore more or not, right? So which is why the landing page, right? So this is very important, like that is where you have to guide your users like to reach out to your value proposition, your offers, like your promotions, like features and functionalities, or like the attractions must be placed on the landing page. But the question is how to make it like user friendly and to have a good user experience. This is like very, very important. So optimizing your products like landing page like will involve enhancing like um enhancing a web page to improve user experience, clarifying like value propositions, right? What features and functionalities like you have, and increase conversion through strategic design, right? Conversion basically means, okay, so just looking at the landing page, they are interested in it. They may want to register in your system. They may want to subscribe it. They may want to get the the notification, or like they may want to explore more. So these are more tangible things that we want to aim at. So the next one is a leverage like social proof and like user generated content. So you should encourage your early users. The early users are very, very important, right? They are critical for the success and the sustainability of our project to share their experiences on social media or within the app, right? So testimonials like reviews and user stories, promotion, they can be very powerful in attracting new customers by demonstrating spreading like real world value, right? And of course, like you encourage, you urge your users like to contribute like contents to create to generate contents. So they are the like organic contents from the your users, right? They are very important. They are very like useful for the word of mouth, right? So that they can recommend to other users, right, in their social circle. So implement referral programs. So this is kind of like nothing new, but it's still very effective and useful for the new products, new organization. So designing a referral program that rewards your current users for bringing in like new users, like maybe like 50% discount, or like maybe they can get like some points that can be exchangeable and so on. So make sure that rewards are valuable enough to motivate. The motivation is very important. Your users to participate like actively. So this strategy can be particularly effective, like since it comes from the trusted like recommendations, right? Which is called like the word of mouth, right? And content marketing and SEO are like the content marketing is very, very important, right? So without getting the enough and sufficient contents about your product and what your system can do, people may not be aware of like what they get, like what benefits they might expect from your product. So which is why you need to generate the contents in terms of social media, YouTube videos, advertisements, like blogging and many other stuff, like your own website, or like daily mailing and many other stuff, right? This is very important. So develop content that address the user needs, like direct user needs and interests of your segmented target audience, like using blogs, videos, podcasts to provide value, engage, help your potential users engage in the process, right? And improve your search engine rankings to attract like organic traffic. Someone will search kind of like a keyword search, right? That can be related to your product. So you have to make sure and optimize your search engine rankings. Like they are very, very important. They are all a part of like marketing strategies here. Like for your product, for your system, for your organization. So targeted advertising is another important one. I use the detailed like personas like and market segmentation data. So we already have like a very clear and structured like personas, and we already differentiate the markets, and based on the insight and the data you have gathered to run targeted the advertisements on like social medias or search engine, YouTube videos, or like traditional medias like print medias, newspapers, and many other stuff, right? Tailor your messaging and creative elements to speak directly to the needs and preferences of your target segments, right? So this is pretty important here. Collaborations and the partnerships are like very important. So you need to have like sponsorship, collaborators, partners are very, very important here, right? So you can collaborate with another business, or like other businesses, or like for example, like the whenever you have like Lazada and like one cosmetic brand, and Lazada plus like Samsung, or like Lazada plus like a particular like product, right, a brand. So that kind of collaboration, you relying on the like well established and reputable organization. This is called like our B2B or like collaboration and the partnership. And also like you can find like sponsorship for your organization, your product, your company as well. So right kind of collaboration and partnership is very, very important. So the next one is iteration, right? Iterate based on the feedback and the analytics, right? So going into market is like not easy, not straightforward. You need to monitor, you need to do the continuous work, and like monitor the progress, the analyze it, right? So you have to always listen to your customers' feedback, like market trends and market situations, and do the proper like analytics, like market research and analytics, then you will be able to get like some insight. So these insights are like very important for you to continue and refine, improve your product, right? So engagement and retention strategies like very, very important. So getting acquiring users in the first place is very important, right? We need to have. So the next one is how to kind of like retain all these existing customers, and they will come back and use your system regularly. They will become engaged in your system, in your website. Like this is very, very important here, which is why we need to implement like, strategies like personalization, push notifications, emailing, offering like, the promotions and stuff, right? So that customers may want to come back and use it. Okay, so the next one is pricing strategy. So I have already like, I briefly talk about, the pricing strategy for your system, for your like product. So why do we need a pricing strategy? It's like very obviously we need to have like money to sustain our business, our company, to continue working on it, because most likely you are not doing this for charity, right? So you need to get source of money. So which is why like you have to charge like the users. It can be like, your users, or it can be your advertisers, right? So what kind of like pricing strategies like that you might want to do, right? So this is like very important here. So by theory, like a pricing strategy in the context of developing an application and within a design thinking approach. So it basically means to the method like by which you decide on like how much are you going to charge, like, with this price, right? What kind of benefits like user will get, like your customers will get. It is very important. It's a crucial element that impacts not just the profitability of your project, but also it is kind of like market acceptance or competitive positioning and customer satisfaction. This is kind of like a strategy that you have to think about it, because like, if you're overcharging, like, the customers may ask like, okay, why it is so expensive, like, why you are more expensive than the competitors, or maybe like, it is within the affordable range of your persona, which is why the persona is very important, right? So if you're kind of like targeting like young professionals, like, okay, they might want to spend more, whereas if you're targeting like, the students, like they can afford like that much, right? So this is kind of like, we have to think about it, and your persona, your market segmentation, your customer segmentation are very important. All in all, like, we are leading to like customer satisfaction and like their retention. They will come back and use it, right? So this is kind of like pretty important. And also the price they pay must be like, beneficial, right? So using your service, your product, what kind of benefits that they will get. It can be tangible, it can be intangible. Tangible basically means like, okay, subscribing Netflix because I want to watch movies, right? It's kind of like, leisure activity, like entertaining. It's very entertaining. So this is kind of like return values, right? Whereas like you're using like kind of like subscribing like, project management too. So what is the return value? It's kind of like more measurable. Like, okay, you can save time, you can save like energy, you can save like, the like manpower and stuff, right? So pricing strategies are very much like, aligned with your with your like services, your offerings and stuff, right? So in pricing strategy, like you should include user value alignment, right? The value that I mentioned, right? The return value to your customers versus like what they have to pay to you. A competitive differentiation, right? So it must be like, like it can be like differentiated from your competitors, right? Are you going to increase the price, or like are you going to lower it, right? So that your justification make sense, and and also you have to take into account your what benefits your customer can get. The sustainability is like very, very important. Okay, if you go with this price for long term, will you be able to sustain? Will you be able to survive in the market, right? Or will you be able to create like, like large, like huge customer base, right? And what is your position in the market? Like this is another important factor related to the pricing strategy. And of course, to be able to achieve this, like you have to do like research, you have to do like, analytics, you have to gather user feedback and like evolve like over time. So freemium is like we have already known it, like we already talk about this in the like in the business model, right? So the people users like consumers like will use your service, your product for free, like for free. Like but the question is, what is your source of like the revenue, right? How are you going to make revenue out of your system? So this is for freemium. Okay, subscription or like premium is basically like a Netflix, like they have to subscribe, they have to pay it, right? So this is like one model. Then pricing strategy, how you're going to charge is like very important here. And the next one is tier pricing, which is kind of like pretty like common even in the Netflix offer like different levels of pricing. It's kind of like individual user or like family based or like maybe even for the organization. For example, are you are subscribing like Microsoft Office for the entire company, entire campus. So the price will be like, w- a certain price, whereas an individual user will be like a different figure, right? So tiers pricing is like, very common here. So the next one is value-based pricing. Set your pricing based on the perceived value to your customers rather than solely on your cost, right? So value-based pricing is kind of like what user needs. Based on the user needs, right, you can basically like justify and charge it, right? Because this is actually the value that user will gain. Based on that, on top of that, like you charge them, right? So if your competitors like can actually provide offer like similar values, like your if you're charging so expensive, right, then what might happen, right? So this is like what you have to strategically think in like pricing strategy. So the next one will be cost plus pricing. Like it will determine your cost and add market for profit, right? So you have to have like your costs, like development costs, like maintenance costs. On top of it, like you will add up the profit, right? So, but this one is a little bit challenging, right? So you will need to understand, the user needs and like the development costs and stuff, right? Which is also like possible in the pricing strategy. Okay, penetrating prices launch with a low price or like freemium or like then to quickly gain the market share, like customer acquisition. Then you gradually increase the price. So this can be effective in markets dominated by a few major players, right? You didn't actually immediately go and ask many from the users, like you slowly like penetrating the prices. So once you have like enough customer base, and then you might want to charge. Like for example, like Twitter, since it is like um the managed by like um the Elon Musk, right? So he is charging for the subscription and so on. But it used to be free for the users, right? It's slowly like, okay, people started using your system, they know the values that they gain, and like, they have been using this for like some time. It is not possible for them to stop now, right? Then in that case, that you can start penetrating the like, the prices. So dynamic prices adjust the prices based on the market demand, competition, user behavior. So this will be very sophisticated analysis, which may not be very like you need to have a careful analysis for like adjusting the dynamic pricing, right? Even for like startup company, but like it requires sophisticated analysis, but can maximize the revenue by targeted specific segments. So that will be more suitable for the well-established company rather than the like a new startup. Okay, so the next one is go-to-market and marketing strategies. Like they are like more or less the same, right? This is like dedicating to like how to promote and market your your systems, right? Your product. So content marketing, so very important. Like you need to create contents, like you need to invite people, you need to kind of like ask like people to use your product, explain about this, promote and advertise. So this is kind of like content marketing. Social media marketing nowadays, without social media marketing, we cannot, the organizations, the products, they may not survive. So this is like very important. So we have so many popular social medias, but like it depends on the geographical location. Based on that, you can start like, doing your promotion, marketing and stuff, right? Email marketing is kind of like very conventional, traditional way of sending, mass email to like many users, right? So this is pretty like useful, but nowadays, like, there are many strategies than the email marketing, but this is one conventional way of doing your marketing, right? Okay, so the next one is search engine optimization. So what is your rank, your position in the search engine? You have to know, right? Because people will be using keyword search, and like your position must be like in the high priority, right? So which is why you need to optimize your app's title, description, keywords in the app stores, or like maybe search engine to improve visibility, right? In some cases, you pay money to the like, organization to be ranked at the top, right? So if you have a website, optimize it for search engine to rank higher for relevant like, keywords. A paid advertising, which is kind of like very common, very straightforward. Social media advertisement, search engine like marketing, influencer marketing, which is kind of like you can see like, a lot of influencer marketing. You collaborate with like, local or global influencers, like pay a lot of money to them, and then you promote your product, which is kind of like very important. And like public relations, like very traditional, conventional, but stay very useful, like press release, media outreach. So they are like, people will be the platforms like people will be using to look for the like, the information about the new technology. So this is the place where you can actually, promote and market your product. So community building, like very, very important, such as like Google, Microsoft, like GitHub, Apple, like, many other like tools and software, they have their own communities. And you invite people, start like doing the discussion, exchanging the ideas, getting the feedback, and like promoting and so on, right? It will include like forums, groups, events, webinars, like many other stuff, right? So this is kind of like very, very important. So one example is like kind of a Huawei, right? Thailand, like so they are engaging with many universities, schools in Thailand and in other countries to promote their like, cloud platform. For example, this is kind of like building community, right? And I start attracting like many users, like, and to encourage them to start using your system, right? So user feedback and the continuous improvement, which is kind of like pretty normal, that like, you have to continuously monitoring your feedback, your systems, and like, start like, refining the product, right? So this is a part of all marketing strategies. Okay, so now I will be talking about the like, specific marketing strategies. And so the very first one is kind of like four piece model, right? So I believe like most people, you are already familiar with like four piece model and how we can use it, right? The four piece basically mean like we have like four P letters, right? So we will start with the very first one, which is product, right? So product, right? What kind of product? How it can be differentiated from your you know competitors, and what kind of offerings that they can do. This is kind of like the product. Your product must be unique, differentiated, and also it must offer like the uniqueness to the users, right? And the product that you're offering must like address the user needs. It will address the user pain points and so on, right? So this is kind of like what we have done. So and also how to do the product development, we have already gone through the entire like design thinking, all right? Okay, the next one is price, right? The pricing strategy. So, okay, you have a very unique price. It offers like unique value proposition, unique features and functionality. So the next one is like price. So price, like how you're going to do this, like, we just learned the pricing strategies, right? You have to strategically set the prices for your product that is aligned with the user needs, right? Okay, place like your distribution channels. Like nowadays, we have many channels and platforms, it is a part of your business canvas model as well, right? How you're going to reach out to your customers, like through social media, print media, in person, retail store, many other things, right? So place is another important factor that we should take into account. The promotion, right? So I repeatedly like talking about like this promotion. You have to use like promotional techniques, promotional video, to reach out to your customers, right? That must be that can be differentiated from your competitors, right? So promotion encompasses the strategies and tactics used to increase awareness, sales, and like attraction, right? So that the promotion is very important. And okay, product, price, place, promotion. This is four P's, right? Now we are going to talk about seven P's, right? Seven P's are basically the extension of the four P's, right? We have three more P letters here. So what are the three more P are like, P letters here. So the very first one is like, in addition to the previous four, the people refer to like everyone involved in the production, marketing, development team, sales, support of your system, your service, right? So they are very important. Who will be involved, who are, what kind of responsibility they have, what kind of benefits they have, how to motivate them. This is like very important, right? In your marketing strategy. And processes another P letter. So processes involve the delivery, operating systems, all the business processes related to your product, your system. That will be including, product development, customer service, maintenance, advertising, and also customer support, marketing strategy, analytics, like, technological management, project management. All these must be synchronized, right? So this is like very important in the marketing strategy. So the next one is physical evidence, the last one as well. So physical evidence pertains to the environment in which the services deliver and any tangible components that facilitate the service or convey quality, right? So for services which are intangible, physical evidence can be the layout of a retail store, or like, the design of a website, uniforms worn by the staff, even the packaging of a product. So physical evidence, basically your retail stores. Like for example, if you think about Grab, right? So people remember Grab very easily because of the uniform or because of the logo, website, the color choices, and then, the advertisement and so on. What about Apple? Apple has very unique design. So physical evidence is kind of like distinguishable, right? They're very unique, and it is basically helping the users recognize, and like, they want to reuse and stuff, right? So it's a brand image. So this is another factor in the seven P's. So seven P's and four P's are like, popular marketing models. Um, Four Ps are like basically ideal for product focused industry like, retail, manufacturing, right? Whereas like seven Ps can be more towards service oriented sectors such as like hospitality, or like maybe Agoda and stuff, right? Or like hospital information systems and so on. But like, depending on the nature of your product, you can consider choosing one marketing strategy. So the last one is the like Ansoff like metrics here, um which is kind of like marketing or market like penetration. So this another marketing model that will that you can be used in your like, marketing strategy. So according to this metrics, like the very first one is market penetration. So this strategy involves like increasing the market share of an existing product with an existing market. So blue ocean strategy, this is more towards like red ocean strategy, right? You are not going looking for a new market. You are kind of like penetrating into the existing market with your unique features, right? So this is like one way you can do, and then your marketing strategy will be very unique here. So, and the product development is kind of like, if you're kind of like creating a new software product, developing additional features, and that will be kind of like catered to the same customer base but with enhanced additional functionalities, right? So you are creating product with new features and introducing to the users. They are very much familiar with such kind of product, but using unique features and new, you know, functionalities, it can attract the users like product development. So market development is basically it will involve like targeting different geographical areas, industries. For example, like you have like you develop a software for like Thailand based, but you're like slowly like expanding your market, right? So it's kind of like market expansion, market development. Okay, the next one is pretty challenging and risky. Introducing new products, like definitely totally new products. So your innovation technology is very important that it will be penetrating into, I mean, like, expanding or moving onto the new market is totally new market, which is called like blue ocean, right? People never see that kind of technology, never used before. We don't have specific market for this. So this is like, a totally new market, which is very risky, but the benefits will be can be very much maximized. Okay, the last one here is like customer retention like strategy. Very important. Okay, first of all, for your product, it is important to acquire like a large number of customers. Whereas like the next question, how to maintain, how to retain like all these customers to come back to your system and use it and continuously subscribing your service, right? So what we can do. So customer retention strategy will include like, enhance your user satisfaction. To be able to do that, you have to get the feedback all the time, right? Then analyze it and based on the feedback, like you refine it, enhance it. Business efficiency kind of like, um it's more cost effective to retain an existing customer than to acquire a new one. So your business is kind of like efficient in terms of like using offering like your new features and functionalities, promotion, and so on, right? And it is kind of like efficient to use, effective to use your systems. So continuous improvement, of course, this is kind of like service improvement, and brand loyalty is kind of traditionally very useful but stay effective. So to be able to retain customers, what we can do, personalization, very, very important, right? So people will be kind of like satisfied using your system the if they can use like personalized services, personalized contents, and so on. Building relationships, which is kind of like very important. So community engagement, regular communication, offering the promotion to your like customers. So building relationship like uh between two parties like your organization and your individual customers, which is very, very important. Or maybe even organization uh based customer, right? You are targeting a large customer based. A value reinforcement, like highlighting improvements, like what you do, and deliver consistent like value or even like more improved value. But for example, like okay, so the value is kind of like decreasing. For example, people may not like watching a particular entertainment channel because there are no more interesting movies or series, like they might want to drop it or cancel the subscription, right? So reinforcing the value, customer value is very, very important. The loyalty programs, if it is a consistent and coming back, right? The existing users, what kind of rewards they might have. This is another important. Iterative improvements, which is very important in the design thinking. This is what we are trying to achieve. So this is all about like strategies that you should think of, like now we are coming to the end of the design thinking, like the capsule. Then what is next, right? Now the next is that you are going to launch your product. You will kind of like continuously monitoring the performance. Of course, you are now be ready. Make sure you be ready for like customer support and the service, and iterative improvement and enhancement, like scale up like operations. They are very, very important. All right, and that's all for the entire semester for the ICE capsule, semester 2, 2023. And thank you so much for like participating in the entire like semester long journey. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you all again.